Okay, so now you've defined your objectives. What do we do with that information? How does it help us further our careers or maximize the amount of energy that we're putting into something? Well, to really get the benefit out of defining your objectives, we first have to understand what success is, what success in those objectives is, because they will not always align. You'll have a 3 to 5 year goal, which you may have to do something in the quarterly goal setting period, that 3 month period, that will go against what you're trying to do in that 3 to 5 year plan. But if you understand what success is in each of those projects, in each of those areas, it's going to help you, again, just make the decision making process easier and to be less hard on yourself if something isn't going well, or harder on yourself if you're being lazy, if you're just not performing the way that you want to. So, what is success? Well, on a project basis, it can be tricky, right? Because what is it that you're looking at of a certain project? If you're doing a spec commercial, if you're doing an actual commercial, there's lots of different variables that you can judge success by. Are you proud of the finished product? Does the finished product look like you were expecting? Were you able to take a game plan and action that game plan and execute it to the best of your abilities and get something that aligns with what you thought it would be? That's one way to consider success. And are you proud of the project? That's a completely different way. You may start a project thinking it's going to look like The Revenant, and it ends up looking like Blair Witch. And even though you might be proud of it, you weren't successful in the area of executing the plan that you came up with. You thought you could pull off The Revenant, and you ended up pulling off Blair Witch. I don't know if I'd call that successful. So there's that aspect of success on a project. Then did you get along with the people that you were working with, your collaborators? Did you enjoy the process? Were you respected in the process? Did you enjoy the director's company and the relationship that you had, the back and forth, the understanding of ideas when you broached certain ideas? Were those well received? Were they accepted? Were they talked about? Were you just completely shunned every time you came up with something? These are the things you have to start judging success by on a project basis. So be very objective in your goals every single project, so you can tell, well, is this good? Was the lighting good? Well, was the lighting what I thought it would be? Did it match up to my expectations, to the references that the director sent through? Was the director happy? Is that the success of the project? Was the production company happy? All these things we have to determine what we are looking for a successful project. And I would say it's a combination of those things, but you're not always going to tick everything off the board. Sometimes things will change, and maybe you might not be super proud of a project, but the director will love it or the production company will love it, and that will lead to more work. So it's not always, like I say, they don't always align. The goals that we've come up with and the objectives that you defined in the previous module, those aren't always going to align with what makes a successful project. Because say you work on something that you might not be super proud of, but the production company loves it or the director loves it, and then they get you on another project which you end up being proud of, which you have the opportunity to explore areas that you haven't done before, that you're interested in, that can help propel your future because you get elements for your reel, or you get a certain look that you hadn't achieved before, or you're able to play with certain toys that you hadn't had access to before. So it's those little wins where if in the beginning you define your objectives as in that short-term process. If you say, well, I want to shoot this spec ad, I want to have 2 other ads in this 90-day time period, I'm going to go forth. Well, then it's just about acquiring those projects. And you may say, well, no, I just need 15 seconds for my reel. I want something dark. I want something moody. So in your spec ad, to go dark and moody. In your normal ads, just to try and tick over to get closer to that year-long goal, which is to be a full-time commercial cinematographer, you're okay taking jobs that you might not be super proud of, right? So success on those projects may just be making the director happy rather than shooting something that you can be absolutely proud of. So it's determining success on a project basis relates to what we just talked about before about defining your objective. Now, success for the objectives in the long term, that's quite easy as long as you're honest with yourself, which is why we set the goals in the first place. Did you achieve it? Yes or no? After 90 days, did you shoot 3 ads? Did you shoot your own spec ad? Did you organize something to go out and get some real opportunities? Opportunities for the real, I should say. Or did you not? Right? If you didn't do it, well, then you're not closer to your 12-month goal. You're not closer to your 3 to 5 year goal. So that's why I say those short ones, they just get the momentum rolling, get some easy wins there, and keep you on track and accountable. But you have to define success. What are you looking for from every single project? Because if you're going out there right now, I can tell you, as a commercial cinematographer, there's just no way that you are going to be proud of everything that you shoot. It's not possible. Unless you are Chivo or Roger Deakins or something like that, where you're working on the highest of the high. Every time you hit the record button on the camera, when the first assistant hits the record button and you're rolling, probably not going to be the best thing you've ever shot, right? Probably not going to be your proudest moment on every single job. So then to stay sane, to stay motivated, and to stay interested, you just have to find ways. Remember, this is a long career. You're going to be doing this for an extremely long time. So you need to make sure that you stay motivated, that you stay on the right track, that you got your mental game down, so that you can allow yourself to make a living, right? You have to. There will be jobs where you're not going to be super into the product, or you're not going to be super into the director or the production company, or maybe there's somebody shitty on set. You still have to find ways that you can judge success, judge how you're doing on your tracks to your longer term objectives, to that 12-month goal, to the 3 to 5 year plan. This is why we do it, because it's not going to be easy. It's a long process. And just make sure that you're doing your best to judge success, not just the overall, am I shooting amazing things, but the lower level stuff, like the little wins. The little wins start to add up. So my advice would be, make sure you are defining success as it pertains to a project and as it pertains to your goals. So the big takeaway from this section would be that your long-term goals and your short-term goals, they're not always going to align, and that's okay. As long as you can determine success and separate between project success and goal success, then you're going to be able to stay motivated. It's going to keep you interested. It's going to keep you happier on set, because you understand that this is for the greater good. Are you doing things for the greater good? That's the whole point of defining success. So that is the big takeaway. Just make sure you understand what success looks like on a project and on a goal basis.